Nixon being, a establishment New World Order person, but he wasn't a complete puppet. That's why they set him up and destroyed him. They were busy weakening the presidency at that time because the corporate elites were coming in and getting control, through other areas of government. Now the establishment wants to energize the executive. They've masked the power in the executive. And I got so focused on saying, look, all these candidates are puppets, that I didn't see Barack Obama coming till 4 or 5 months before the election. And I have to say I really respect Webster Tarpley that much more, because when I would hear him talk about youth brigades and fascist movements and how Bush didn't have public support, and so he couldn't get his whole agenda through, even though they staged the terror attacks, and how Obama was planning to have private youth brigades separate from government, tied in with government, I didn't see the nuance. I mean, I knew it from history. I had learned that on my own separately, so I know he's right. It's just somehow I didn't see it, because you don't think it can happen here. You don't think this can go on in the United States. You can't imagine that this is really going on. And now, as the days and weeks and months go by, it gets worse and worse. It gets so crazy and cartoonish that the only time I've ever seen this type of media hysteria and public worship and just poor, mindless people who want to hope that everything's all right and want to be part of change, and who are so sick of the corrupt system and so scared by the economy that they'll believe in anything, and comic books saying he's like Superman or Spider-Man, and TV and saying he's going to save us, and world headlines about the world believes Obama will save them, and then it's all a betrayal. You have the documents, the facts, the information, his whole agenda. One example of hundreds, he cynically says, yeah, we'll probably close down Guantanamo Bay, but then it comes out on ABC News and they say it's a good thing. Oh, but they've built all these other camps in the U.S. and overseas, and they're actually going to just move people there. And then, of course, that's what Bush announced 6 months ago, that they were going to be shutting down Guantanamo Bay probably in the next few years. That would be up to the next administration, and that they were just building other camps. So it's all the same agenda, the exact same agenda, just now energized with all this fake grassroots support, because that's how this works. That's how the fake left-right paradigm works, is that everybody gets upset with one party, they get informed that it's corrupt, they get mad, and the media does the hoax of, well, this other party, the Democrats or the Republicans, whoever's outside of power, they'll fix it. And we saw this in 2006. Rahm Emanuel engineers this whole fake thing in the House, that everything will be okay if you'll just elect Democrats to end the war. And then he brags cynically to newspapers that, of course, he's an IDF soldier, pro-war, more hawkish than even Cheney and Bush in many cases in the Middle East, that they just lied to their constituents. And it's so funny. So now we have Barack Obama, but this is something different in U.S. politics. Never since George Washington has someone been such a cult icon, so worshipped, so loved, so adored. And he wasn't worshipped and loved until after he'd won the war, until after he'd been given all this power by the fledgling Continental Congress in July 4, 1776, and then he went through all that adversity with his men, and then he served 2 terms and left and refused the kingship. When Alexander Hamilton and others said, we're going to make you king, he said, no, I'm out of here. I want us to be a free republic. Well, Barack Obama is no George Washington, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Barack Obama when he's just a one-term senator being worshipped as if he's God incarnate, when he's just some little slick, well-spoken foundation globalist front man openly calling for world government, carbon taxes on the entire carbon cycle of life on this planet, regulating every facet of our lives. I wanted to calmly go over this. It's just, how can you calmly cover the total destruction of our society? How can you calmly break down something this horrible, something this bad? And then we learned that the Democrats have now introduced, and we have a link on Infowars.com in the article, King Obama, House Considers Replacing 22nd Amendment, so that he or someone else in the future can basically serve for life, and so they can continue to be reelected. And we've seen this whole apparatus of police state, this whole apparatus of the troops quietly training for gun confiscation, quietly training for mass crowd control over the last few decades, and all these denials by the media, and we're conspiracy theorists, and now, yeah, they are training for this, but to fight Al-Qaeda, and the bait and switch. Well, actually now they're preparing to fight the American people during insurrection or economic collapse. And the Defense Department comes out and admits it. And they announce we're going to put 20,000 troops on the streets. And there's going to be 20,000 troops in D.C. for the inauguration. And again, legitimizing it, normalizing it, all being set up, all of it coming to a head. And now there's no denial. I'm totally sure of it. And this is the horror that I'm just now realizing this is for real. I believe they're going for complete broke with Barack Obama, and he is hell on wheels. He is going to turn out to be a Hitler, a Stalin, a Mao. He is going to try. I know they're going for it. I know the elite are putting all of their power, all of their weight. A few weeks ago there was a cover of Newsweek, January 6th, where it showed all these elitists of the world, presidents, prime ministers, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all with arrows aiming at Obama, about how they're energizing him, they're empowering him, how he's unstoppable. And Pat Robertson comes out and says it's of the Lord, socialism's good for the people, no one can stand in the way of Obama, he will be successful, nothing can stop him, I'm pleasantly surprised with him, I love him. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is the most off-the-charts thing I have ever seen. I wanted to read to you part of this article by Kurt Nimmo. It says, King Obama House considers repealing 22nd Amendment. Earlier this month, Representative Jose Cernando, Democrat, New York, introduced H.J. Res 5, a bill that would repeal the Constitution's 22nd Amendment prohibiting a president from being elected to more than 2 terms in office, thus potentially paving the way to make Barack Obama president for life. Not surprisingly, the corrupt media currently caught up in the Obama mania. They're not caught up in it. They're promoting it. They pushed it. They created this for the gullible 40% or so of the public, has not covered this story. See the exact wording of the bill on the Library of Congress website. We have a link to it. Will George W. Bush end up being the last true U.S. president, writes Sherzive, writing for Canadian Free Press on January 14th. As I warned you on multiple times prior to the 2008 general elections, once Obama is elected, we won't be able to get rid of him. Tragically, this warning is now being realized. Not only has Obama established his election fraud organization, Acorn, which is run by the Annenberg Foundation, which is globalist, which is involved in all sorts of scams. And no, we're not saying go vote for McCain. The point is they own all the horses. They own both the fighters, like a Don King fight. It's rigged. See, because I know how you're going to respond. I saw people respond in the comments. They're like, look at you with right-wing propaganda. You're just for McCain. No, they own them all. That's the point. It says, Acre nationwide, his adherents have now begun to process to repeal the U.S. Constitution's 22nd Amendment. And it goes, in addition to the Acorn election fraud organization, Obama's behind-the-scenes handlers have reinvigorated his grassroots re-election organization, calling it Obama 2.0, essentially a classic fascist mass movement designed to keep Obama mania alive, as well as go up against those opposed to the bankster policies Obama and the elite have planned to shove down the throat of the American people. And it just goes on. It just goes on from there. And then there was a great comment, comment 104 on the story that Kurt Nimmo wrote. And I have small children. I don't let them watch a lot of TV. But when we're on a trip or they're sick and they've got to be in bed, we'll let them watch a few things like Bob the Builder and a few things on PBS. And every time I heard, yes, we can fix it, I would say, where have I heard of that? Where have I seen that? I mean, that's so childlike. And it was so obvious I was missing it until I read this today. It says, Jesse says, Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Bob the Builder, yes, we can. Bob the Builder, la, la, la. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. And it says, Obama chains, yes, we can. And it goes, Bob the Builder began in 99. How many years have parents and children been bombarded with the slogan of Yes We Can, and a popular show for kids that has been on for nearly a decade? Could we really expect anything to turn out any differently than it did? It came from the UK, just a thought. Yeah, the Tavistock Institute. But I mean, regardless of whether it's mind control or not, or a sloganeering, they admit that Obama uses different programs and different repeated things, and the whole cant of his voice and the whole pitch. I mean, he is very professional, very focused, an actor of the highest order. And just the way he cynically has all these people signing on to their doom, signing on to their deindustrialization, signing on to their loss of standard of living, signing on to austerity, while the bankers literally suck the country dry forever. And here's the key to the $8.5 trillion stolen so far. They won't tell us the last 5 weeks how much more has been stolen. That's the latest number.